Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's Her Rise Lunch and Learn. I'm Marsha Guerriere, founder of Her Sweet Spot, and I'm so excited to be here today with you for this month's Women's International Women's History Month, right? I'm so excited.
Women's History Month too.
It's History Month as well. And so I'm so excited to present you guys with this week's or our Lunch and Learn guest thought leader for this month. Miss Tina Powell is the CEO of C-Suite Social Media, a full-service digital marketing and social media marketing consultancy for leaders in financial services who want to stand out. With over 20 years of hands-on digital marketing campaign and strategy, Tina's extensive experience has kept her on the leading edge of marketing and social media. Prior to founding C-Suite Social Media, Tina was a partner at Beacon Wealth Management, an SEC-registered RIA firm based in Hackensack, New Jersey, sounds we like to hear, acquired by Mercer Advisors. Tina is a TEDx speaker and host of In the C-Suite, a podcast that explores contemporary themes for mid and senior women leaders in the financial services and wealth management industry. Tina is a judge for the wealthmanagement.com Industry Awards and Stevie Awards, the world's premier business awards. Tina's earned an MA in Graphic Communications Management and Technology from New York University, where she earned the Prism Award and taught integrated marketing and leadership in the graduate program. She also earned a BS in Business Management, magna cum laude, I hope I said that right, from Fairleigh Dickinson University, and holds a Series 65 license. Welcome to you, Tina. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
God, Marsha, I'm so grateful to you. You are one of the best sheroes. I swear. I'm just so grateful to be here with you. And I can't think of anybody other than you that I'd want to celebrate International Women's Day and Women's History Month, because you have done so many amazing things for women, myself included. I loved your TEDx talk. It got me so excited this morning to watch that. All your inspirational messages. So thank you. It is indeed an honor to visit with you today, to be in touch with everybody at Her Sweet Spot, and to be part of the Her Rise Lunch and Learn. I'm just such a fan of what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina. And, all of that goes right back to you. Thank you for amplifying my voice on your podcast. If you guys haven't heard it, please go out and look for In the C-Suite podcast, where I don't even know my episode number, but
you're episode 18. 18's a lucky number.
18's a lucky number. I'll take it. Great. You guys go out and take a listen to that. Well, today, Tina, I'm so excited to really have you talk. Inside of Her Sweet Spot, we have 4 pillars that I like to think that every person, whether you're building a personal or business brand, should really hone in on, which is mindset, money, marketing, and media. And so today you're here to help us with the media aspect of our 4 pillars, and really how to pitch yourself for media. If you've seen me and on the Her Sweet Spot website, you know that I'm all about gaining access for media and building brand through media exposure. And there's all levels of media. So I can't wait for you to share with your 20-something years experience in this field. I couldn't think of no one other than you to present this topic to our Her Sweet Spot members to help us get some additional brand exposure for whether you're career facing and or starting and having a small business, even as a side business, even as a small business sidepreneur. It's important to get exposure for your business, even if you're in secret, because I was in secret for a long time, Tina. Managing and juggling both. But I will let you now present to us how to pitch ourselves for media.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And it indeed is important. And I really think that anybody who's listening right now, whether you are a business owner or whether or not that you're an entrepreneur working in an organization and championing some really cool efforts, or whether or not that you're considering entrepreneurship, that you will find value in what we're talking about today, because absolutely you have to make sure that you are out, that your personal brand is out, and just like to Marsha's point, exactly. Doesn't matter if you have a personal brand or business brand, you have to be in it. So I have a wonderful deck today, some slides to just keep us on track and to, help you after you listen. I want everybody to just, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, right? That's why I'm here today. And so I'm going to share you what I've learned in the past 20 years, but specifically more the last, I would say, like 3 to 5 years, where there's been this amazing acceleration with marketing and media and personal brands and social media all coming together. And by the way, you can follow me on all of the entities down there that we have: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you have a follow-up question or anything, I am Tina C. Powell at Twitter. So again, and it's really awesome to be with Marsha and her sweet spot. So let's take it. One of my favorite quotes, it's a new quote from our Vice President, Kamala Harris. What I will tell you about media is this, everyone, is that it is going to feel uncomfortable. It is going to feel super uncomfortable, as a matter of fact. And there are going to be people who are going to doubt you. You're going to be rejected. And so therefore, I want you to go in with this with the right mindset and your head in the game. And our Vice President, Kamala Harris, had this to say. I love it, love it, love it. She said this at a conference not too long ago in 2020. And I'll quote her: "There will be people who say to you, you are out of your lane. They are burdened by only having the capacity to see what has always been instead of what can be, but don't let that burden you." So the key here is out of your lane. You are out of your lane. You're going to feel a little bit with this whole, media, personal branding, and being out there. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to feel out of your lane. That is okay. I'm here to tell you that's perfectly natural. And even people like me, and I'm sure Marsha would attest to this as well, that it doesn't matter how long you've been doing that. There's still a little bit of like trepidation, a little bit of nervousness that you get in your stomach. I felt it today, quite honestly, before coming on Marsha's show here and doing this Lunch and Learn. It's natural because you care about what you say. You care about the audience. You want to make a really good first impression. So have those thoughts, get in the right mindset, listen to whatever song that you want, that pumps you up before the show, and just get yourself in the right frame of mind. So today we're going to cover the following things as it relates to getting in the media. You are what you think. We are all a media company. I don't care if you're a personal brand, or I don't care if you work at a company, or you're, again, that entrepreneur inside a company. Number 2, you are what you do. Research and facts matter. Everybody wants to get started right away, and I'm going to have you actually take a few steps back. And then finally is you have to believe. You have to believe your story. You have to know fundamentally deep inside that you have a story to tell, and that it's absolutely worth it, as our friend Valera would say, in the title of her book, which you should get, by the way. Okay, so let's start with premise number 1. You are a media company. Anybody that follows marketing, digital marketing, media, Gary Vaynerchuk, he is one of the pioneers of digital marketing. He started out with his Wine Library YouTube channel when nobody was doing it. 7 years ago, he said this: every single one of you is a media company. Fast forward, now we have total proliferation and domination of social media. And what he said with this, and this is the big key takeaway: if you're not putting out content, basically you don't exist. Okay, I want that to settle in. If you're not putting out content, basically you don't exist. And so as you're thinking about you pitching yourself to the media, you actually need to have your own content out there, and think of your brands, your personal brands, your business brands as a media company, not necessarily what you do, right? Marsha is in the coaching business, and she has conferences, and she has a lot of different initiatives. I think Marsha's is a perfect example of, putting together pictures, video, audio, and text. Follow Marsha's example for that. And those are basically the 4 pieces of content that you have to play with. So as you think of your own content, some of you are going to be better at writing. Some of you are going to want to get on video. Some of you are better at kind of taking pictures and being a little bit behind the scenes and telling a story. Understand where your core competency is and how you want to, where you want to lean in as far as the idea that you are a media company. Again, her sweet spot, this is her sweet spot, YouTube's channel. And Marsha now has been doing videos for years. This isn't something that she just decided to do. Hey, it's coronavirus. She's been doing it for years. And the reason why I draw this example to you, and an example of one of my own, is that content is the king. You can't have media exposure unless you're putting yourself out there. And you need to understand how you want to put yourself out there. Is it a YouTube channel? Is it a podcast? Is it a newsletter? Is it LinkedIn Live? Is it Facebook Live? Is it Instagram Stories? There's a ton of different ways that you can kind of assemble this, but it really goes back to, what are you going to be super jazzed about when you create that content? It's got to be something that is authentic to you, that you look forward to doing, right? Because it gets tough. The other part I will say about this is that it needs to be episodic. This kind of one-hit wonder show is not going to work. Content is still the king. It needs to be episodic. You need to look forward to producing it. You need to give it life and give it form and give it body. So for me here, and part of the reason that I've had a lot of media exposure, particularly in the last year, and I haven't even been overly aggressive about it. I've got to be totally and perfectly honest with you all. I run a digital marketing company and a digital agency, and we have been busy as all get out. And I haven't been doing the kind of outreach that we've been doing for our own clients. But what I will say is that it always does map to content. Press releases matter, articles matter. You are what's the word I'm looking for? You are the aggregate of all of your content. So reporters, media people look for that. What do you stand for? What's your message? And what do you do, right? Okay, so hope that made sense to you, right? Let's just take a pause here. Getting noticed by the media matters. You need to think of yourself as a media company. And if you think of yourself as a media company, then you need to produce media, right? Media are forms of thought leadership in pictures, video, audio, and text format. Okay. The second, what I'll call the pillar. I love Marsha's pillars. This presentation or today's discussion revolves around 3 pillars. This is the second. You are what you do. Here is the guiding principles that have worked for our clients as well as ourselves as it relates to media. Okay. So let's assume that you've decided that, video is your thing and that you've done pretty good. You've got about 10, 15, 20 videos. Fantastic. You're ready to go out pitching now. You actually do look like a little bit more of a media company than just someone that has a website. If it's just you and your website, I'm sorry. I love you all, but that's not gonna get the attention of the media and reporters. They're very discerning. They're very selective. So you do have to make sure that you have much more than that. Okay, now, once you have all of that, here's what I want you to do. Before you start pitching to one particular media outlet or publication, do me a favor and sit down, do a deep dive of the media outlets and the publications in your industry. What do you want to be known for, and what circles do you want your, to be quoted in? That really matters. It has to align with who you are. Okay. Number 2 is I want you to get to know the reporter and their work before you start reaching out to that person. Understand that if you are trying to approach them about entrepreneurship, you better have read their articles. You better be following them on Twitter. You better already be liking them, commenting, and engaging with them somehow. This isn't that just you showed up to the world and that, the reporter's gonna listen to you. You have to actually show that you care in what they're doing as well too. And they'll really appreciate you even sharing their story even more when you're not the focus of it. So that strategy works really well. And the reason why I'm mentioning Twitter here, if there's one social media platform that helps you get in touch with media, it is Twitter. Go on every single media publication. Let's take Forbes, for example, and you will find their Twitter handle. Company reporters do not have the time to sit and try to find your email address, know what your email address is, or anything like that. This is a super, super quick, reporters act super quick. If you follow them and they follow you on Twitter, then you can DM them, you could direct message them. So they're not going to look to find your email address. You better be prepared. So follow them on Twitter. Okay, the next premise with how to get media exposure. And this goes back to pitching a particular reporter. Again, once you understand what are they writing about, looking at other articles, developing some sort of a relationship with them, following them, engaging them, liking their stuff, you need to have a distinct point of view and a soundbite. Your soundbite has to be so awesome and so cool. What do I mean by soundbite? Those are those super punchy quotes, right? That you see in press releases. You hear it all the time. You even see them on Twitter. It's got to be punchy. It's got to have like emotion. It's got to have pizzazz. It's got to be really cool and memorable. That, by the way, takes time. So before you reach out to the reporter, think of those different sound bites and that point of view that you offer. Okay. The next, and again, this is to make it easy for reporters to work with you. You want to create a one-pager with the issues that you speak about, a little bit of your bio, your social media handles. We do this for our clients, and our clients are quoted in media, in different news publications. They are serving on virtual events. And so by us creating this one-pager for our client, it makes it relatively turnkey. So think about that. Another area that you need to make sure that you're very well prepared for you. This is for you now. All your headshots as well, right? When Marcia asked for this right away, hey Tina, I need your headshot, I need your bio to come in here to Rise, Lunch, and Learn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys need the same thing, right? So make sure that you have that one pager, that bio about you. Headshots are ready to go. I've even seen some people put them on a particular web page, right? So then they can just direct the reporter, here's all my information, and to make it easy for the reporter to get what they need. Okay. And then know your facts. Whatever the media is talking about, the most recent, I think GameStop comes to mind, right? A lot of people in financial services were quoted around GameStop. Know your facts about it, right? Look all over the place. Don't just offer a myopic view, your view, but show the reporter that you understand what's going on in the first place. So I hope that was helpful to you all. Again, these are the things that this is the step to do before you even reach out to the reporter. So in essence, it might take you months. It might take you 6 weeks before you put out that first request to a media reporter. Okay. Okay, let's go with, and by the way, I can't see any questions. I can only see my screen. So if there's been commenting or questions or anything, Marcia and I will get to it after, in about 10 minutes after I finish. Okay. Act super quick. Again, reporters have a sense of urgency that is immediate. You have to be accessible, immediate. You have to be able to work at their hyperspeed. It's why that's in red over at the top. If there's one thing that you take away, speed matters with media 100% of the time. Okay. So now what I explained in the previous slide is basically this one-to-one, you reaching out to a reporter, whether or not it's through email or whether or not it's through Twitter. Hey, I have this idea. Hey, I'm Tina Powell. Here's my one pager. Love to talk to you about GameStop. Your super jazzy quote or, little punch of bullets of ideas about how you feel. But then there are some also tools that I wanted to make sure that are on your radar. Harrow, which is not in the slide right now, mostly everybody knows Harrow, Help a Reporter Out, which is basically a digest of journalists doing stories, and they break it down by subject matter. That's great. I wanted to approach this other useful tools. I wanted to make sure these were on your radar as well, because figuring that most people know about Harrow. So there's Just Reach Out, there's Turkle, and there's PR.co. Let's deal with PRCO. PRCO is if you're working for a big business and you've got money. Okay, I'll say that again. If you've got money to spend, PR.co can really, really help your brand. This is more for like the bigger brand. There's an allocation, more of a larger allocation in the organization to PR. That's great. It will match up the right journalists. Again, that's more big brand. Turkle and Just Reach Out are great for small business entrepreneurs like you and I that have, limited resources for PR, digital marketing, communications, content creation, all of that. So Turkle's great. You can set up a free account also too on Just Reach Out. You can try the platform before you decide to make to put too much time or effort. What I will say is that they are affordable. And I will say that, you have to nurture this every day. It's not just, let me come on to this. Let me come on to justreachout.io. You have to make a dedicated effort. So I would say, like, if you're going to kick this off, whether or not it's Turkle or Just Reach Out, do it for a 90-day period and make a decision to do something every day, to put yourself out there every day. Okay, which is going to bring me to my last point here. To put yourself out every day, because I promise you will get rejected. You can have the most amazing story. You could have a really awesome TEDx talk like Marcia has, which you guys should definitely watch it. You could have a great story, but some journalists are going to reject you for one reason or another. Please don't take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them, and they are reporting to an editor-in-chief. So understand that. You have to be strong, and you have to believe in the power of who you are. So when you are rejected or you don't hear back, it's not like they say, well, thanks very much for your submission. No, you're not going to hear back. That doesn't mean that you stop pitching. That doesn't mean that you stop trying. So get approval or get validation and approval for you and your story from the inside. Don't measure it on how many media hits did I get? Where was I mentioned? How many impressions did my article get? No. Those are all nice to have, but the magic of who you are is not measured by that, right? Okay. And so the last thing I want to say is please don't give up. Ignore the voice in your head after, again, those series of rejections that is going to tell you, oh, they're not interested. The voice on your head, on your shoulders might say to you, you're not enough. Oh, who cares anyway? Don't let that narrative rob space in your brain. Okay. I've been so guilty of that, right? I would have never started my podcast, which now we're in 520 cities and 32 countries. I heard that voice on my head, just like all of you, right? The people that have had some sort of a media presence, we've all gone through the feelings of like not being confident, questioning ourselves, imposter syndrome, all of those things. So you will feel that because putting yourself out there in media is hard. Constantly pitching reporters is hard. That's why the software, that might be a really good way for you to kind of ladder in the strategy and kind of get used to it and putting yourself out there. And then the last thing I want to say is thanks everybody for listening. I know that this has been kind of rapid fire style, but you know, your time is valuable and you can put this on pause and replay and listen as much as you want. I also want to tell you again, to go back to Marsha. She was a guest on my podcast in number 18. And, you know, there's so many things that are possible for you as content creators. You know, and before you pitch yourself to media, that I think is one of the most important takeaways from today's talk is how are you going to produce episodic content? How are you going to create your own content strategy so that builds your brand, reinforces who you are, what you believe in, and then gives the reporter something to actually look at that tells a bigger story of you, right? So, you know, use us as a resource. You have my social down there below. I want to thank you everybody for the courtesy of your time and attention. And I'm happy to take questions.
I took that off mute. Tina, how amazing. Thank you for dropping so many of those gems and really important key points as to how people should be looking for media and why it's important that they should look for media, give themselves that exposure, and how to properly engage with reporters and media content producers. Your presentation was so on point, and there were so many points that I just want to spotlight right now. So first of all, thank you for adding me to your slide deck. I didn't know what you were going to do.
You didn't see this, you guys. I had to wow. I couldn't wait. Like putting yourself out there. You've done it. You just did it with your TEDx talk. You know, this is hard stuff. Like you don't put yourself out there and just talk about happy-go-lucky themes, everyone.
No. It's in order to make the impact that you want to make, sometimes it's got to be uncomfortable, and we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable if you want to be seen, heard, and valued, right?
Absolutely.
And so you talked about the nervousness part, and you know, sometimes I think it's only me. I get so, even coming to you today, and I'm in the one just behind the scenes as you're doing your presentation, it makes me nervous every time the light goes on, every time I know I have to present myself in front of anyone, no matter what the topic, or I'm always nervous. So important, you know, one of the pillars is mindset. Get into that right mindset before you go into any media. Come up with a mantra. I have someone who teaches EFT, emotional freedom technique, and she taught me and some of my clients how to tap into the calmness before any moment and when you're something. So that was so on point to share. Thank you for that. And you also mentioned, if you're not putting out content, basically you don't exist, is what I tell my clients all the time. I know it's daunting. It's hard work to consistently put out content. And that's why you got to get to a point where you could hire staff and support to help you with that. But if you're not putting out content, who's going to find you? You're keeping yourself a secret, right?
Absolutely. And you just said something really important, Marsha, and that is that get somebody to help you. Look, we went out at you know, our agency, I have 2 Gen Zs and 3 millennials. And I have to tell you, they have blown my mind and I think I'm really good on social. And then I see what they're doing, and I'm like, wow, like time to level up, Tina. So there are so many there's so many interns right now. I want to put a big shout out to interns.
Yes.
I really think that there are so many people right now that have graduated college, are even going to school virtually right now, that would love to help you and your brand. You just need to place a thoughtful ad on Indeed. Some of them will work for just the experience, to have something on their vitae so that when they're done with their studies. So none of us can do it by ourselves. We all Marsha, you created some really cool graphics to even promote this episode and what you're doing. Take a page out of everybody's playbook. You don't need to copy them exactly, but just look and study the people in your industry that you look up to and that are already setting a great example.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Another great point that you made is that you got to talk about something you're super jazzed about. I find that I have not a lot, but I do know some people that try to shoehorn their way into a brand that they think people want to hear, instead of being authentic to what they're super jazzed about and allowing that to be natural. I say to people, especially, with my platform, having the conference and even inviting people to come speak in these sessions, and they're like, well, can I have the questions in advance? And I challenged them. I said, well, I can do that. But the reason why I invited you is because I know you're already a thought leader in this space. I know you already are passionate and are knowledgeable in this. You could do this conversation or this deck or this presentation with your eyes closed. And I look for people like that I know are consistent with their brand values and message, right? And you could see the passion come out. And I hope, and I know they see it in you, right? And I hope they see it in me as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, what is Her Rise conference? How many years was it? Your 7th year this year, or your 8th?
Yeah, we just passed our 7th year. We're going into our 8th year.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, take a look at the speakers that are there. Wow, you have powerhouse women in the speakers there.
We're excited for this year. We're hoping to do a hybrid. We're planning and working on a hybrid and hoping that the New York could be safe for us to do so. And you're right across the pond, as they say. So hopefully you could be here live with us too, providing everyone is safe and vaccinated and whatever it is we need to get done. And at the end, you said you have to be strong and you have to believe. So when I talk to women and men, one of the things that I really hone in goal setting is the belief. Believing in yourself. In order to eliminate negative thinking, you first have to do the believing. And sometimes I hear people say, well, I believe in myself. And what's holding me back? You believe someone else's negative belief. So it's a double effect of belief, right? Believing. It's sometimes we believe in ourselves, but our partners don't, or the people closest to us sometimes may not. And they really don't believe in us for fear of us having rejection and some of those things that comes with entrepreneurship. But somebody in the circle of your doubt and fear and negativity has a belief issue. And so it's important to really believe in yourself and make sure you're surrounded by people that believe in you too. So I thought that was another excellent point that you honed in. And Tina, I appreciate you so much for being our Lunch and Learn for the month of March, Women's Month, the week of International Women's Day. It's been a pleasure, as always, talking with you and having you here sharing with us tips on how to pitch ourselves to media. Tina, before we go, can you just remind everyone where they can meet you?
Sure. So you can meet me if you want to send me something. LinkedIn is a really great way to get in touch with me. It's pretty easy there. And then as well as Twitter, Tina C. Powell. Instagram, like everything. But I would say like LinkedIn is probably the best. And I just want to thank you, Marcia. This has been really exciting. I've really been looking forward to today, and I think that it was a great reminder to pause, especially during the month. We all get so busy, and then just to pause and just to give thanks to just being part of your network, being here and sharing the air with you today is great. Just all of us have to do a better job of just tapping into our inner strengths and, those periods of doubt. That's why, you get to work with people like Marcia and, and get coached and just whatever you have to do to rise above and just put yourself out there. Just do it. Eventually you will be able to do it. And so if there's any way that I can help you, you guys have my information. And thank you so much, Marcia, and a happy International Women's Day. Happy Women's History Month. And we're going to have a great, great year.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And you guys know how I like to end my podcast. When we inspire each other, empower each other, we all rise. So bye-bye for now.